Roger Federer, I always tease that you go to the Open and thousands and thousands of people are watching Roger Federer sit on the bench and watch other people. That's one of the reasons the players are great. They're very stubborn, but they have to get to the point where they can have that work for them, not just against them. My son Connor got deep into a challenger. He said everything went wrong, food poisoning. But he said that he warmed up with Rublev, and Rublev just tees off. And I'm just watching Rublev. He's at T-Bar M, and I know you know the place well. So he's just going from player to player. If there's an open court, he's going from player to player and just wants to hit. So if someone said yes, he jumped on the court and hit balls. And then if he wasn't hitting balls, he was in the gym like a madman. Didn't look like he had any direction. He was just going from one machine to the next machine. It looked like, too, as 17 years, just trying to pump as much weight as he could. But I remember Connor and Hoffman said, that guy's going to burn himself out. They're like, oh, he's my favorite player here. I've been hanging around here for a lot of days. And this kid, I love this kid. And, he just that passion. He has Murat Safin in the stands. Murat Safin was asked because he was in politics after he retired in Russia. And they asked him, why are you in politics? He said, that's where the money is. No telling what Safin is telling him. I don't see Safin having studied the game. Just the math, simple math. And that's not a shot at Safin, is that all you got to do is listen to podcasts, and you're not going to hear people talk about 130 degrees, potential angle at the net, 3 feet from the net, or you're just not going to talk about stats. If you go up there and you win 2 out of 3, turns into 4 out of 6, 8 out of 12, you're not going to talk about a green light point, the directional coming in off the approach, but then I think also to the practice, when you're, just to add to your game. To me, it's very much like a musician that can just play one song. Braden used to say, well, how many steaks can you eat? A guy like Rublev, he's making plenty of money. Let's talk about your longtime student, Ashlyn Krueger. It's similar.
Obviously, I was there for all of her matches, singles, doubles, and with a little bit of what we just talked about, I think she's going to be up against Anisimova in the third round with a very good chance to win. In many categories, I think she's as good or better, for sure. Having the day in and day out reminding is critical because, to use that phrase, sharpening the saw, keeping it sharp. You don't use something, it's going to get rusty. I think people at every level tend to practice what they're good at. And it comes down to that ideology of, going with the player's strengths. But I also think that's a slap in the face to players in general. You don't really see how good a person could become. And that's really all we're talking about. Like you said, people will hear what we're saying and think that there's not any really respect for the players. It's not that at all. It's how good could they be. And a lot of these people are leaving their careers, 6, 7 tenths maximum of where they could be. But the day in and day out has to be there. I think you really, really have to be special to look down the road and then say, okay, this is what I'm doing. And just, that trust the process mentality. Because whether it's a junior or whether it's a player that's at Ashlyn's level, it's the same thing. I mean, you want to have options and you want to make sure that your options that you have are staying sharp on a daily basis. Situational training. I found it interesting that on the practice courts this year, I saw way more people, in pass doing some baskets, coaches feeding some balls. Not a lot, but way more than in the past. Because I remember watching Lucas Pouille up there. And I think through the whole tournament, he was the only person that was doing baskets with his coach the year, when Pouille was making quite a good run on the tour at first. But now, what used to be called the Sampras Krug hit has kind of become the norm, and people are hitting, but they're not really working on things. It's just a groove hit. To grow, you're going to have to do it every day. I mean, even when you're at a tournament.
Roger Federer, I always tease that you go to the Open and thousands and thousands of people are watching Roger Federer sit on the bench and watch other people. I mean, it is so exciting to watch the practices. But a lot of times the practices that you see, like say Federer at a tennis tournament, and then be told, oh, when he's off the tour, that's not how he practices. And then you can dig deep on the internet, or then you can ask people who been part of that, where he would bring 2 juniors over to Dubai and have one for 4 hours in the morning, one for 4 hours in the afternoon.